In SEL today, we will continue with thinking positive thoughts. We're going to learn today about what happened after Mojo made up a story. He told himself a negative story and it made him feel so much worse. Today we're going to watch the next video and think about how can we take a negative fiction story, how can we turn it into a positive story? What does that look like? We're going to begin with a video. Students are sitting up tall. We are using our eyes, our ears, and our brain to learn today.
Mojo had slipped and spilled all the ice cream sandwiches at field day. He was sure that everyone would hate him forever until Katie told him it was only a story he was telling himself. But he didn't quite understand. Just a story? I mean, I guess it could be. I wish I could talk to Katie more. Where did she go this time? I guess she's busy. Or maybe Katie secretly hates me too. She's probably just too nice to say it, and she left on her own. Katie did leave. That's a fact. Just like how I spilled the ice cream. And they happened right after each other. She doesn't like me. She won't ever like me again. Katie had been nearby giving her drone a pep talk before the big race. Until she spotted something by Mojo. Mojo, look out! Huh? Ah! Katie, you're back. Where did the snake come from? Mojo, your stories created a story snake. A story snake? What's that? When you tell yourself a bad story, it doesn't just stay in one place. It spreads, and if you tell it more and more, it even stretches. It's coming after me! You can't run from a story snake, Mojo. It follows as long as you keep telling it. Oh, great. Just like the ice cream. It never forgets. First, I spilled the ice cream. Now I ruined field day with a giant snake. To forget field day, I ruined the entire field. If everyone didn't hate me before, they definitely will now. Mojo, don't give in to your crazy stories. You have to fight it, or the snake will take over. Really? I hadn't noticed. Help me, Katie. The story's so big it's eating me up. Literally. I can't help you, Mojo, but I know who can. Katie! You can't run from a bad story. You need something that fights it. Something good. Something like this. But what do you think? Can the stories you tell yourself really be as powerful as Katie says? Have you ever told yourself a bad story? And what can you do to fight a bad story?
Okay, so yesterday we saw Mojo make a mistake. He tripped and he fell into the table and the ice cream and snacks went everywhere. And he started to tell himself a story. Today, we are seeing how when we tell ourselves negative thoughts, it can grow and grow and grow, and it can control you. It can feel like a snake that's coming after you, and it's out of control. So today, boys and girls, you will join me on Seesaw. You will click Activities, Assign to Class folder, Light Blue SEL. Our task today is called Positive Thinking, the Story Snake. Go ahead and open that up, please. On slide number 1, it asks us a question. It says, what really happens when the story you tell yourself takes over? So we know in the video, It's describing a story snake. They're just making a silly joke in the video. It's not really a snake. But what does happen? I want to know what you think really happens when you make up a story and you tell it to yourself over and over again. You may type your response or you may record using the microphone. You have 2 minutes to answer what happens when you tell yourself a story and it takes over. To listen, Haley, go ahead and share out what happens when a story takes over.
So what happens is that you're going to get sad and sadder each time.
So true. Thanks for sharing, Haley. Ashley, what happens when our made-up story takes over?
Like, if you keep on telling yourself, then it's gonna make it worse and you're gonna feel like really bad.
So true. In the video, they described it feeling worse as it getting bigger and bigger and bigger, right? Sometimes our made-up stories can do that. Landon, go ahead.
You just keep
Thanks for sharing, Landon. We're having a hard time hearing you. But thank you, buddy. We'll try again in a minute. Awesome. Let's look at slide number 2. Slide number 2 is all about you. It says to share about a time a bad story took over you. Can you show empathy to Mojo right now? Can you think about a time where you made up a bad story? You told it over and over to yourself in your head using negative self-talk? I want you to share about that time. A bad story took over you, sort of like the story snake. You may type your response or record using the microphone. You have 2 minutes to work on that, please. On slide 3, we're going to get your opinion. On slide 3, it asks, what can you do to fight a bad story? We have not seen what Mojo has done yet to fight his bad story snake, but I want you to think about yourself. In your experience, in your life, what do you try to do to fight off a bad story? When you are telling yourself a negative self-talk over and over again, what can you do to stop it? I want you to think about that and share your ideas on slide 3. You can type your response or record using the microphone. Right now, you're thinking about what can you do to fight a bad self-talk story. Let's take a couple minutes to think about that and share our response on slide 3. When you are done 3rd grade with submitting your answers, you may push the green check to turn in.